All right, we're going to get started tonight. I know we have a lot of things happening, got a lot of things going on, but it's 6 o'clock, so we're going to get this thing going, all right? Hey, real quick, as you came in tonight, again, there's a table back here, and if you haven't had a chance to do it yet, we do have some sheets with very small print, microscopic. And what we're asking, if you would go ahead and look for your student on that list. High school list is on the left side, junior high is on the right side. Go ahead and check them off if you haven't done that yet, because we want to make sure we get as much information to our adults as we possibly can. So check that off that list so we know that you're here. If you didn't do that, we're probably going to send out the information to as many folks as we can on this, but we want to make sure you have that, all right? For just information purposes, my name's Scott. I'm the pastor at the church, and excited you guys are with us tonight. Excited for a great week of Falls Creek. Right now, according to our registration numbers, junior high students, which is students who have completed 6th through 8th grade, right now we have 55. I think that's right, something like that, 55, and that includes our adults. High school week, which is the following week, we have 72 signed up for our high school week, again, which includes adults. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, come on in. You're good. Come on in. And as I give that number 72, I also want to say this. There are 46 beds on each side of the cabin, 46 on the boys' side, 46 on the girls' side. There are 2 suites that we have down on the bottom floor. Each one of those have 4 beds in them, all right? So it equals out to be 100. So of the 46 beds that we have on each side, the girls' side, if I'm not mistaken, Matthew, correct me if I'm wrong, we're at 40 or 41 girls on that side, including adults. And so it is snugly tight. So with that being said, if you're a high school female or you know a high school female who wants to go to camp, do it as quickly as you possibly can, because once we hit that 46 max, it's kind of like we can't do anymore, all right? So it's already going to be tight, so just keep that in mind as we go throughout. Also, I want to let you know, Matt Branham, you may or may not have met Matt yet. Matt is our youth pastor. He's been with us now for 7 weeks, something like that. And so he's excited. We're excited he's going to be with us. And so I'm going to kind of lead this part of the meeting. And then at the end, what we're going to do is ask our sponsors, our adults, to stick around. He's going to lead that to kind of go over a few things with them. But what I want to do first and foremost, obviously, I think we probably should pray. So that makes a lot of sense, right? We're going to ask the Lord's blessing in this. So let's ask the Lord to be with us, all right? Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity, Lord, you give us to be together. God, I thank you for a place like Falls Creek that allows us to get away from all the crazy, Lord, and just hear from you. I pray that, God, as we go over the things tonight with these parents, with these students, that, God, you would just be with us, God, directing us and guiding us. And we ask these things in your name. Amen. All right, so if you haven't gotten this yet, again, on the back table, again, along with those check-in sheets, there is a yellow sheet, looks just like this, has a bunch of information on it. And then there is a gray sheet that has some people with some different colored clothing on. And then also there is a packet of a white packet here of 3 sheets there. And so we're going to kind of go over those things, just kind of give you guys the heads up on the ins and outs, the what to bring, what not to bring, all that kind of stuff. And of course, as you look through this, what I ask you to do is just check this with you. Check it off the list. Moms and dads, here's the deal. We kind of expect moms and dads to be somewhat responsible for what your kids bring. And so I'm going to give you some things in this. Now, some of these things are specific to our cabin, but some of these things are also specific to Falls Creek. First thing, obviously, we want to encourage you to bring a Bible and a pen. This is an important thing. Make sure your students bring that. Let me just say this also. If you're a student or if you don't have a Bible that you can bring with you, let us know. We can make sure and get that for you. All right? Change of clothes for the week. This is a Monday through Saturday. Some camps go Monday through Friday. This one goes an extra day, okay? So please be aware of that. Clothes for recreation, we're going to get hot. It's going to be 175 degrees most of the week, so just be aware of that. There may be a day where all of a sudden we get a torrential downpour and your student has to go change. Obviously, you won't have plenty of clothes to do that, so make sure you keep that in mind. At least 1 pair of closed-toed, closed-heel shoes, okay? So if you say, all my kid has is flip-flops, again, let me know, okay? But do make sure you have some closed-toed, closed-heeled shoes for the kids, at least 1 pair with them. Spending money for the concessions, which is like sodas, ices, coffee house, things like that. Also, the Falls Creek merch shop has things they may want to buy, T-shirts, things like that they can purchase at that. Sleeping bag and or sheets and a pillow. Please do not forget this. This happens almost every year, but we expect that this year is different. All right. So sheets, sleeping bag, pillow. Please bring those things with you. And by all means, please bring deodorant. Please bring soap. Please shampoo. Please bring a toothbrush if you need a hair dryer. Things like that. Those things obviously are big things you're going to want to have every morning, every evening. So please remember that. I always recommend that people bring 2 towels. Obviously, you want 1 towel, but sometimes that 1 towel falls on the floor. Sometimes that 1 towel gets stepped on. All of a sudden, that towel is now disgusting and nasty. Now, please know this also. We do have washer and dryers in the cabin, and so if there's a situation maybe to where your student, something happens and they have a shirt that just gets red Kool-Aid all over it, or like happened to me when I was at kids camp, and I pushed a kid to get under the table, to sit under the table, and Hannah Johnson had on white pants, and red Kool-Aid fell all over her white pants, and I felt responsible for that. So with that, luckily Hannah had some other pants. She went upstairs to change, brought those back down, were able to clean those pants. So with that, if something like that happens, you're not completely out of luck, but it's always good to have backup stuff there. So those 2 towels. The next thing you see here is medication. I know this, that for a lot of students, maybe they take Zyrtec on a daily or they do a nasal spray. We don't mind them having that with them. But here's the thing. If your student has some sort of a controlled medication they have to take, like let's just say Ritalin, please don't send your kids to camp without that, okay? We don't want kids just going absolutely bonkers at camp because they don't have that. So what we've also done, as you can see at the bottom of the page here, we have a list of our sponsors. And on each side, junior high week and high school week, we've designated an adult to kind of be that medication person, all right? As Matt wants to say, the drug dealer. I mean, they're dealing the medications out to your kids, all right? But Shelly Blair for junior high week, Janet Hood, they both said they're willing to do that. So Monday when they show up for camp, we do ask that you have them give that to those people. We will make sure that those folks are designated. Many of you know Shelly and Janet anyway. If you don't, we can make sure to get that to you. But this is obviously a big deal, not just so your kid has their medication all week long, but also so some kid doesn't accidentally borrow that kid's medication and take it for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Obviously don't want that for your kid. We'll make sure they're taken care of. Also don't want some kid distributing medications than they're not supposed to be. All right. Swimsuits. Of course, you can see the whole one piece for the girls, dark shirt, all that stuff. We're going to go over the dress code here in a little bit so we can discuss that, and we'll move forward with that as well in a little bit. One of the big things always is bring some sunscreen. There's going to be a lot of sun at Falls Creek. Always is, a lot of hotness, and so make sure they're aware of that. Moms and dads, it's not listed here. I would ask you to make sure you encourage, and we're going to do this, but make sure you encourage your students to drink water at camp, all right? There's going to be soda, there's going to be coffee, there's going to be all kinds of stuff, but water is the best hydration for your student, all right? And so please encourage them to do that. Lastly, we ask is that they bring an uplifting attitude that glorifies God. If for some reason something goes really bad over your weekend and you're fixing to drop them off for camp and you want to kick them out the door and say, get out of our house for a week, I would ask you if you would to pray about that and just kind of help them walk onto the bus, all right? So be careful in that. We have a lot of students going, and we don't want negativity to creep in with us. And so do your best in that. I also know this, that anytime that the Lord wants to do something great, the devil wants to work harder. And so don't be surprised if a few days before your kid leaves for camp or the morning you're fixing to get ready to go to camp, all of a sudden they begin to act like nut jobs, all right? So be aware of that, pray for that, ask the Lord to help us walk through that. So here's some things not to bring. And by the way, these not to bring things are obviously a Falls Creek issue, all right? Fireworks, guns, knives. Falls Creek is a no guns zone. So if for some reason your student brings a gun with them, it's not good. Pocket knives, please don't do that. One thing we found out this last week, buddy of mine's a youth minister in Midwest City, and he had posted something on social media, and this is where we obviously have to be somewhat serious. If your student has like a backpack, and they are going to the worship service one night, and they have that backpack with them. All students and adults who carry any type of bag have to go through a bag check. Obviously, in a sanctuary, a tabernacle that holds 7,000 people, you got to be really careful. So this buddy of ours posted that a student of his jokingly mentioned something about a bomb. That student got sent home on the spot. Guns, bombs, all that kind of stuff is kind of one of those no joking. I mean, the kid, he wasn't trying to get kicked out of camp, but just that word, and they said, I'm sorry, we can't let you stay here anymore. I mean, it's that type of severity, especially, again, we were talking about a group of people of 6,000 people in one building. And so I'd ask you if you would remind that of your student. This is important. Don't do that. But these things are listed here again, fireworks, guns, knives, water guns, water balloons, any of that stuff. Drugs of any kind. Again, you can see that listed here as we have the designation for the people who are helping us with that in the cabins, all right? Kind of went through a lot of stuff here. Anybody have any questions before we go on to a couple more things tonight? Anybody? Seeing none. Very good. All right. One thing also, as we look at this, is the discussion of dress code and cell phone usage. We're going to talk about the dress code here in a second. In the past couple of years, what we've done on cell phones that's worked out pretty well is students who have cell phones, we allow them to use those from lunch until about 5:30. And we do ask them to put those away. We'll have a special place to help protect those, to keep those safe. And the reason we do that, obviously, is we want to make sure we try to eliminate as many distractions as possible. It's real easy for us to go to camp and still be all focused on devices when we need to be hearing from Jesus. And so from the time at dinner until the next day, we're going to ask them, we'll have a special place for them to put those. We'll have those safe in a spot. And so just be aware of that. One thing I tried to do here that Matt and I did on this list, you'll see, again, the list of the sponsors here. And with that, Matt's name's listed there, junior high. My name's listed there as well. If there's an emergency, these are the numbers we would ask you to call. I know that there are things that sometimes happen that we want to speak to our children, and I get that. I'm a parent. I've got kids who have gone to camp and kids who are going to camp. But unless there's a major emergency, I'm asking if you would try to pull back just a little bit for a while. Now, if you want to text them to see how they're doing, what like that, that's fine. But if there's an emergency, you can call these numbers. For high school week, Matt's listed there along with Aaron, our discipleship pastor. His number is listed there as well. And so we would ask if you would, again, use those for any emergencies you might have. You probably know a lot of these sponsors. If you want to reach out to them, that's fine as well. But we wanted to give you these, and we wanted to give you all these names so you know exactly who is going with your student. As a parent, I want to know who was taking my kids to camp. I would also say this, that every one of our sponsors have gone through all the background check information. Stacy Andrews back here. Sponsors, if you would, she's going to make sure all of our sponsors are up to date, which means in the last 18 months you've done a thorough background check. And so Stacy has all that information, and we will make sure all that's ready. But again, you have a list of all the sponsors right here that if you have any questions about them, please let us know, all right? I would also say, as you look at both those two lists, obviously the high school, we have more going to high school, again, because we have more students, we need more adults to go. But the last three names on each list, so for example, on the left side on junior high, Carrie Storm, Teresa Fletcher, Leah Hartman. On the right side, Shelly Watkins, Kira Fletcher, Janison Long. Those six, but those three of each side are the cooks. And so if your child has dietary restrictions, if they have some sort of dietary allergies also, please let them know because obviously we want to make sure your kid can eat. All right? So if there's something that they're not supposed to eat, we want to make sure that there's some options for them. Does that make sense? All right. Any questions on that? All right. So hopefully everybody has signed up for camp. By the way, let me just say this. These are, again, all the codes to go to sign up. Today is the last day for the $100 fee for camp. So beginning tomorrow, it does go up to 130, only because we're trying to make sure we order all the food. The larger the number gets, the more difficult it can be to get enough food as we get there. So again, if you know of other people who want to sign up to go, please get them to do that as quick as they can. Again, and by the way, the junior high girls side is also getting full too. So if you know of students who want to go, they need to sign up really, really soon because it's filling up, all right? One thing I will make sure that you know also, and I did this is just a screenshot. Everybody here has signed up on the app there. What you did was you signed up so we have information. So Kingfisher First Baptist has information. But with that also, Falls Creek has to have release form information for every student. So what I did was I took a screenshot, and you can notice at the very bottom of the page there, additional forms 2020. Now this says high school registration online. Well, what I need y'all to do is when you go back to the registration form that you did for your student, and then go down again, you will see that form that says 2024 high school, or for, the other one junior high. I need you to click on that and fill out all the form for Falls Creek. Again, this is their release form. We can bring them to camp without it, but they can't stay. All right, so it's just kind of how it is. We can bring them there, but they have to have this thing filled out for them to be able to stay at camp. So when you fill that out, we will go, when you get to camp, we would go and get the registration done. They would get a wristband that has their name on it. They have to wear that wristband all week long, but again, we can't get those wristbands without their registration and their release form filled out. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, I mentioned to you before we're going to go over the dress code. You can see that right there on the gray sheet. And I'm just going to show you this quick video to kind of help explain it.
Welcome to the Falls Creek Youth Camp's dress code. Dress codes are in place so all campers can enjoy a fun and safe environment. Before we get into specifics, all apparel judgments will be left to the discretion of the Falls Creek staff. If a staff member determines a camper or campers should change their clothing to fall in line with the camp requirements, then those campers are required to do so. This video will give campers an idea of what is acceptable and what is not. If there is any doubt, please remember, modesty is always the acceptable standard. Now, let's be specific. These types of shirts are always acceptable. Remember, sleeveless shirts must extend all the way to the shoulder seam. Shorts must be modest. Modest can generally be defined as extending to just beyond the fingertips or a 5-inch to 7-inch inseam. Dresses and skirts must reach the top of the knee, and shoes must be worn at all times outside of your cabin. Tights may be worn under a garment that meets the dress code. As a reminder, tights are not pants. The campers must not wear tight-fitting or revealing clothing. This includes leggings or similar attire which cannot be worn as pants. No tank tops or shirts cut down the sides. Undergarments must always be covered by outer garments. So, no boxer shorts hanging out or bra straps showing. No midriff or racer backs, and no sports bras as tops. This includes the 5K. Also, no spaghetti strap tank tops or dresses. Apparel must not display tobacco, alcohol, controlled substances, or inappropriate language or pictures. When it comes to swimwear for the swim areas, we would like to again stress modesty. T-shirts and cover-ups must be worn to and from swimming venues. Guys should wear fingertip-length shorts that are not tight-fitting. Ladies should wear modest one-piece bathing suits. No short shorts, tight-fitting shorts, or two-piece bathing suits are allowed. Campers cannot be barefoot on the way to and from swimming venues. Please remember, all of the dress code applies during the 5K. Thank you for complying with our dress code. We pray you have an awesome time at Falls Creek Youth Camp.
All right, so dress code is always the issue that we deal with when we go to camp, all right? It's always the fun thing to talk about. But of course, one thing that it talks about is that the shorts need to go down past the fingertips. So that doesn't mean that one part of the short is past your fingertip and the rest of it goes all the way up to your hip, okay? Like it cuts back up. The whole thing has to be below the fingertip, all right? With that, of course, you can see as well the shirts, all those things you can see specifically on the sheet that gives you all that information, Any question about that? I would love to answer a question about that. That's pretty easy, dude. Yeah. All right, so here's one last thing I want to share with you guys tonight before we wrap up. We gave you this also. You should have received a three white sheet packet here. There's a few things I want to make sure that you see on this. You'll see, first of all, on the left, you can see the information as far as the first aid. Be aware of this. When you fill out the information on the insurance for your student, that kicks in when they step on the bus. Okay? It doesn't kick in when they step off the bus at Falls Creek. It kicks in when they step on the bus, and it ends when they step off the bus in our grounds. And it's a pretty awesome deal. I remember several years ago, we had a young lady in a church that she was our secretary in a church several years ago. She went to Falls Creek for a singles retreat. On the way home from the retreat, she was in a really bad car accident. And even though she was not on Falls Creek grounds, she was actually between Falls Creek and Tulsa where we were living. The insurance covered her. So again, it's not just on the grounds. It's from the second your students step on the bus to leave till all of a sudden when they get back home, the insurance is covered with that. There is first aid station. We would ask that when your students don't just walk to the first aid station, come find an adult at the cabin. But you see information there. You'll see information on the gift shop, the concessions, all that stuff, the swimming areas, all those things are going on there. On the right side there does give you a schedule. So if, like, let's say you're thinking on Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon, what are kids doing? You can see right there what's happening with the students about 2 in the afternoon. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of all the things that are happening. We will plan, the plan is that Monday of camp, so for junior high students, it would be the 15th, high school would be the 22nd. The plan is that the buses, we have Kingfisher school buses. We will be pulling out of the parking lot to the connection at noon. So we would ask you to have your student eat something before they get here about 11:15. We're going to get the stuff loaded up. We're going to get on the buses, and the goal is to get out of here by noon. That gets us to Falls Creek by 2:15, 2:30, depending on the drivers, all that kind of stuff, traffic. That gives us plenty of time to get all the stuff ready so we can have dinner, go to worship that night, on and on and on. The goal on Saturday is to leave as soon as we can on Saturday morning, get back here 10:30, 11-ish, just depending on what time we can get away. Again, depending on what time we can get away. All right? All right. So that's the first page there on the schedule. Second page, there are a list of different events that the students can be involved in. You can see, of course, there are, there's different breakout sessions that students can go to. One thing that they've also had several years ago, they started having the skate park. So if students have a skateboard, they want to bring that, they can, but that has to be checked in at Falls Creek. They can't just walk up and around the grounds with it. Again, with 6,000 people, it's not a good idea. But you can see all the things listed there for all the students to be involved in. And then that third page there, I printed this one off specifically, also that last page, because if you wanted to write a letter to your student, there is the address right there for the information for Falls Creek, all that. So, yeah, all right? There's also information there on camper safety, different things you might want to read through as a parent. All right. Anything else? Anything that maybe I missed? Yeah, so the last several years it's been Wednesday. Yep. So for those who want to get up and run 5 kilometers in the Falls Creek Hills, it's miserable. All right. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. How much money should you send with your student? Man, Angelina, that's a great question. When I was 25 as a youth minister, I'd say your kid can probably take $10 and be okay. But I'm not 25 anymore. I'm double 25, and I'd probably say double that then, I guess. I don't know. So the ICs, the stuff like that is like $2, right? And so if they just did one a day, that's $5, that's $10. That's if they only did that. Okay? So maybe $20, $25, I guess. There's also T-shirts at the gift shop. There's different things they can do with that as well. So again, and with that, you bring up a great question there, because I think too, Ask your student to be very aware of their stuff. Now listen, we are bringing the best people in the entire world to camp, all right? There's not a single negative, bad person going to camp. However, I've also known this. For some reason, even the best kids somehow find their way of finding $15 out of somebody else's bag, and they have no idea how they found it in that person's bag. Literally, I had a kid tell me that one time. I don't know, it was just in his bag. I'm like, that's not your bag. For some reason, students have a problem when they see someone else's money just laying around. Remind your student to hold on to their money, okay? If you were to say, well, can one of the adults hold my kid's money? No, there's too many students and not enough adults to do that. Just tell them, keep it on them, all right? Hide it in their bag. Make sure they put it in a place where nobody's going to see it, okay? Those are important things. Yeah. So again, every student will get it. We will have a camp T-shirt. They will eat plenty of food. All right, our cooks are fixing great food every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're going to have snacks. There's going to be food. Your kids will not go hungry, and they will be clothed. All right, let's put it that way. And again, if for some reason your son decides only to bring one pair of underwear, we've got a washer and dryer, but don't do that, okay? I mean, I really don't want to have to wash your kids' underwear during the week. It's not my thing, all right? All right, any other questions? So with that, if a parent comes down, we would need to discuss that because there are certain, again, there's certain rules that come along with adults being on campus. I do know that if an adult was planning on spending the night, there has to be a background check filled out, but I will have to get back to you on that. I know it's not hugely encouraged, only because if every child's parent came for an evening, we're talking an extra 10,000 people showing up on the grounds. But we'll have to get back with you on that. Thank you, Miss Lozicki. Did you get that? Okay, thanks. Anything else? I do know, going to your question, that they do live stream all the services. And so if you wanted to go on and watch that, you're more than welcome to do that too. We can get that link to you for the live stream. So not the same as being with your kid, I get that, but that's an option. All right, anything else? So again, I would ask, again, I'm going to put this back up there, see if I can do that from here. So make sure you go to that registration form that you filled out for your student. You should be able to go to the church, I believe it's Church Center, or we can try to find some way of getting that to you, but we do need you to fill out the registration, the online release form that has all that information there. That way we can make sure your student is registered for camp, all that kind of stuff, all right? And again, if you have any other students who do have interest in going, get them to do it soon so we can make sure they're on the list, all right? Mr. Evans. So once you have filled it out, we can go in and we can mark it that you've done it. Yeah, we have to go in as the administrators and go in and click that you filled it out. Yeah. Good question. Anybody else? All right. Well, if that's it, I'm going to say a word of prayer over us. We'll be done. Also know this, if there's something that you missed, we are making this meeting available online. I will send out a link tomorrow to a YouTube link that has this information. So if somebody else just couldn't, I know we have a lot of folks doing a lot of stuff right now, so we'll try to make this available to as many folks as possible. Also, we can get you, if you misplace these, we can get you these in a PDF form as well through an email. We can make sure you have all this information as well, all right? And again, we're asked our sponsors and adults to stick around for a meeting as well here in a second, right? Let's pray. Jesus, we love you. We thank you. Thank you for this time together. And God, we pray that you get us ready for a great week at Falls Creek. Be with these students, be with these adults. Thank you for their time, their attentiveness. And Lord, we ask you to be honored in all we do. We ask these things in your name. Amen. All right. Thank you.